This is weekly sync number 4, weekly sync number 4. We are gonna start with demos. Who wants to go first?
We could go first.
Cool, cool.
So for our issue this week, we had, as a user, I want to see a welcoming prompt to add my first item if my list is empty to help me get oriented to how the app works. Our AC was the list view. When there are no items to display, should show a prompt for the user to add their first item. Yeah, so we created this button here. So if you have no items in your list, then you can click add a new item. And then you can add an item, and then the item should show up in your list. Yes. Okay, yes, so we have coffee in our list now. And yeah, so when you click add an item, it reroutes to that add an item page. And yeah, if you want to look at the code. So yeah, as you see, we put, you know, if there are no items in that list, then you see the message of your shopping list is empty. Add a new item to start your list. And then we used history.push and use history in order to reroute to that add item page when you click on the add a new item, or yeah, add new item button. And otherwise, as we had it before, you just see the list of items that are already on associated with the token. And yeah, and then we added just like CSS elements in order to stylize it so it looks more like the other buttons in the app and is like centered. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's everything.
All right,
Cool.
Cool.
Was there anything in particular that was challenging about this one? Or did you learn anything new this week?
I think we both thought this issue was like pretty straightforward for us this week. We were able to actually complete it pretty quickly. And it was cool actually to be able to go back and be like, oh, we can actually use history for this, which is something that we had learned in previous issues. So yeah, I think for the most part, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I would say that it was really nice because it felt like this week was super like chill for us, or I don't want to say easy, but like it was pretty straightforward for us. And it was nice that we were able to kind of like reuse what we've done over the past few weeks and use that as like a base for what we needed to do this week.
That is really cool. So it's like, even if you go down rabbit holes and try something and it doesn't work, you still like, you have that knowledge for later if it comes in handy. Cool. Thank you.
All righty. Pair 2. Want to show us yours?
Let me just share my screen. Can everyone see this? Yeah, so our issue this week was to implement a checkbox for each item on the list so that a user can mark it as purchased. So if they click on a box, it'll be marked as purchased. So if I go down to honey, the last purchase date gets updated with the current time that the user checked the box. And going to the code. Yeah, so for each item, we're just adding a checkbox input, and on change, we implemented this purchase item function, which just updates the item in the Firestore. And to disable the checkbox, Gabby can talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, I wasn't looking at the code properly.
Let me know if there's anything I should be showing.
Hold on a second. I don't think my code is up to date. Okay, I'll just look at yours today. Okay, so to disable it, we set it so that when the last purchase date is less than 24 hours, then we will make the item, I guess, null. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't have, I'm trying to find the updated code here. I thought this was it. Oh, you're good. Do you want to like take a moment to update it to them? Or
I can tag in.
Yeah, give me a sec. Yeah.
Cool.
Or Terry. Yeah, whichever. If y'all want to keep it moving.
Yeah, so for the checkboxes, we disable it if it's less than 24 hours than the last purchase date. So we use this package called day.js to compare the two different times. So whenever the user loads up the list, it gets the current time and it gets compared to the last purchase date. And this function returns a Boolean value, and we pass that into whether the input is checked and disabled or not. And that's what you see on the list. So when a user purchases an item, the checkbox gets disabled as well. And inside of the database, if you edit the time to be more than 24 hours, it should be enabled again. So I just change that for bananas or honey. and it's enabled again. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for our issue this week.
Cool, cool. I always like to just ask this question because it's kind of cool to hear, but like, yeah, did you, was there anything that you ran into that you didn't really expect with trying to implement this?
I think you caught it in your code review, but we were, an item was still disabled when it was more than 24 hours. I think it was up till 25. And that was because we were doing less than or equal to. So that was inclusive of the 24, which was an easy mistake to miss, but I'm glad you caught it. We also got recommended, at first we were using Moment.js as the package to compare the times. And then Andrew and EJ suggested a few other packages which were more performant and smaller. So we switched over to Day.js. And luckily the API was exactly the same, so we didn't need to change any code.
Oh, that's cool. Make it nice and simple for you.
Yep.
Miles, are you?
My
I think
bad.
you might be muted. Okay.
I turned off my microphone because I was crunching up some paper really loudly and I didn't want to disturb people. My bad. Okay, so next up is our retro. And I think EJ was supposed to handle that, but give me a second. I'll pull up the page for that. Okay, man, I can't find it. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Jill, for leaving it in Slack. I'm going to share my screen with alrighty. So I'm thinking this might be the retro page. Sorry if I'm wrong on this. Oh, EJ says he'll be right back, so I'll leave it up there. I guess this is a good time to take a few minutes if you haven't done your retro to fill something out. Like me, I didn't do it, so I will fill something out in a second. While we wait for EJ to pop up.
Hey Miles, do you think you could increase the size of your screen if possible?
No, because that increased somehow. Oh, you mean the writing?
Yeah, the text, so it's a little more
Oh, got you.
central to the
Yes,
page.
I will do that. Give me a second. Cool. There we go.
Well, maybe while we're waiting for EJ, if we want to, if everyone who has stuff up here, if we want to start going over those, sound good? Cool.
There we go. All right.
Thank you.
So I guess everybody would we all prepare like prefer to read your own so we can explain it, or do you want to round robin it? How would you guys like to handle this?
We can just start from the top,
All right, cool,
like we did
cool.
last week.
All right, I said that I love that I learn new things every week from everybody's code. I came into this not really knowing that much React, so I love looking through everybody's code. I love looking through everybody's like code reviews and seeing like learning something new.
I like how everybody works together as a team and tries to be as flexible as when necessary. How we were able to just randomly merge on a Friday afternoon with like a couple hours notice. Everybody was able to do that. Um, yeah, teamwork. Great job.
I wrote that I really appreciated all the ideas like everyone brings to the table, either on Slack, like during our one-on-ones when we're working with our teammate for the week, or in office hours and code reviews, and also just how thoughtful everyone has been with the code reviews the last few weeks.
Yeah, I wrote that everyone continues to be very flexible in like meeting and working around each other's schedules, because I agree it's really nice that everyone is like pretty up to just like working on code, whenever they have free time. And I think everyone has just been like super flexible throughout the last few weeks.
Yeah, for me this week, I wanted to appreciate the code reviews from both the other teams and from the mentors. They've been really helpful in getting some minor stuff, like catching those small bugs and stuff. Especially this week during office hours, where Andrew went through a PR review for us, and it was cool to see his thought process while he's looking over some code.
Yeah, and I had just a couple of things here. Just I think attention to detail, and then effort in implementing accessibility into the app. Just understanding like the holistic app has been really cool. And also the simplest, like this adding the simple styling to make it look nice has also been a nice touch. And yeah, like Alex said, the code reviews are also very thoughtful, and I think the language that everyone uses is very encouraging. So it's really nice to see. Good job, everybody.
All right. So what went well, I guess, is we all managed to finish in a timely manner. Like we kind of got a break this week in a way, because we all managed to finish within like probably Wednesday afternoon, like with reviews and everything. So we're just all kind of, I guess, respectful of everybody's time and get as much done as we can in the early part of the week, and then do whatever from there.
Yeah, to tag along to what Gabby said, especially like with how quickly we were able to finish everything this week. I think Eden and I had everything done by Monday, and just being able to actually like go through mentor reviews by Wednesday was really neat. And just on top of that, like communication as well amongst everyone.
Yeah, same thing for me. The main points being time management and just better communication. Yeah, it was easy to spontaneously schedule meetings. Like on Friday, we decided to merge just because we were all available and we had some time. So that was nice.
Yeah, and I put that I think the teams have been good with communicating more openly on Slack. I know that was something on our last that we discussed in our last retro, but I think that everyone's made an effort to I guess communicate more openly and post more on threads and kind of put make it a point to put what exactly we were working on that day.
Yeah, and I also agree with that. I think there's been a lot of communication out in the open, and it's been easy to follow what's going on, so that's cool. And then I also just want to call out how Git is continuing to go smoothly, which is, I don't know, that's nice to see. Yeah. And then EJ, sorry to steamroll, but if you had any points that you wanted to add, you can go ahead and do that too.
Oh no, I really agree with what you were saying earlier about everyone's language being inclusive and it's very nice to see. So other than saying great job everyone, I have nothing really to add.
Cool, thank you. And then yeah, I also wanted to point out for this what could be improved column, which we had last time. I know in my team we have like a things to try, or like at work, at my job we have like things to try or action items. So I also think that we can like frame this kind of like that as well. Yeah. So yeah, Gabby, you can go ahead.
I just work on. We got a lot better this week working on the putting in Slack what it is we're doing. But I guess just make sure we keep that up. And I know I forget myself, so that probably was more for me anyway. But like I really like what like Alex and Terry were really good at putting like this is what we did today bullets and stuff. I think that's like a really good idea to kind of keep the other team up to date with what's going on. Yeah, more of a note to myself.
For me, I wrote being more mindful of what each team is working on for the week. And this is also, I would say, like more for me. Not this week, but the previous week, Terry and I made database changes that actually affected like Gabby and Eden's work. But this wasn't like something we had discussed as a team, and like it worked out in the end, and like it was nice that Gabby and Eden just kind of like rolled with it, and we're super nice about it. But I think it could have caused a lot of issues, and could have been better handled if we had all like talked about it before before Terry and I went ahead with those changes.
For me this week, I put down that some of us should be documenting like the main points covered during office hours. So that way, if we need to refer back to anything, we would have something written down. It was especially would have been useful this week because I think EJ mentioned some accessibility options that our group could have used, and it wasn't till after merging that Eden remembered something about that, but yeah, that would be helpful in the future.
Yeah, that's kind of sort of what I put down too, is just kind of remembering everything that needs to be fixed, like making some type of a list or creating issues for that maybe. Because yeah, I think that's actually happened for like a couple of weeks where like we'll like merge the code and be like, oh no, we forgot to fix like this very like minute detail and we need to go back and fix it. So I think just like remembering and maybe creating issues or doing something in order to make sure we have everything complete before we fully merge into the main branch.
Cool, that's funny. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that that's a good idea to yeah, just create issues when you see like any random thing, like even if there's like a little bug that you didn't catch along the way, like an issue in the issue list is a good way to just reference that, and you can take care of it whenever you're able to. And it also helps kind of like encapsulate the pull request so that like you know that it only adds like this certain functionality and you can like focus on one thing at a time. So yeah, I think that's a really good idea. Cool. Does anyone else have any final thoughts on retro this week? All right, cool. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of themes here, so everyone's kind of on the same page, which is cool.
Awesome. So next up is issues.
Yeah, and I think I had that one this week.
Okay, cool.
So
I will hand that over to you then and stop sharing my screen.
Let me make sure I have the right page up. 1 second. All right, everyone can see the issues. Everyone's good? Okay. So our first one for this week is going to be, as a user, I want to filter my shopping list to make it easier to locate an item in the list. So yeah, adding search filter functionality there. Yeah, so the AC, you want to display a text field at the top of the shopping list. And as the user is typing things into that field, the list narrows down the display to only contain the text that the search filter contains. When the field has text in it, there should be a little UI element in that text field, or UI element somewhere to be able to clear the field if necessary. And then also the filter text should just match any part of the item name, not necessarily the start of the string, to make it easier to search. So those are the AC. Does anyone have any questions on that one? All right, I did want to point out that if you go here into the resources, into the wireframes, there, the list populated one has kind of like what this filter items will look like. We don't really have a wireframe that has the functionality implemented, but this is kind of what we have in mind for that. But as far as let's see, I had a note here. Sorry, one second. Yeah, so as far as accessibility, EJ pointed out this really handy thing that you can use with assistive technologies, ARIA live regions, which kind of like keep things updated as the page changes. So this is something you can maybe think about implementing for accessibility. You don't have to, but it's just like as you're starting to think about it. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else into using this, EJ, or if you want to kind of like leave it open.
Yeah, sure. Real quick, I just want to say that doing ARIA live regions correctly with React is a bit tricky. So give it a shot to see what happens and see what maybe you can practice listening to them and seeing what happens when you implement them. But I want to write a bit about this for the team, so we can talk about what's going on and what can be done, and maybe we'll talk about it during office hours or during retro next week. So like Jill said, don't focus on getting this done and don't feel like you have to get it done this week, but it's something that should be done. And you should think about it, and we'll find a way to maybe make it something we can break down in the near future.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, that works out that you have office hours this week. I think this will be cool to think about here. So yeah, any questions before we talk about the next issue? All right, yeah. And we also have issue number 10. So as an item, I want my estimated next purchase date to be computed at the time of my purchase. At the time my purchase is recorded in the database, so the app can learn how often I buy different items. And yeah, basically when a purchase is recorded, an estimated number of days until the next purchase date is calculated and recorded in the database. And there's a handy script that will do this for you. You don't have to worry about figuring out the math or anything. And that is just in this file over here, which I'll pull up right now. Estimates.js, and you'll notice that it has like it's expecting a few things and then it's exporting a few things. So just as a heads up, you might have to rework how you're storing some of the items in the database and stuff like that. So that's something to expect for this week. Does anyone have any questions on issue number 10?
Yeah, I have a question. It's a little confusing, but are we storing the next estimated purchase date, or are we storing the estimated number of days until?
Until purchase. Yeah, good question. I think that it's going to be calculated based on these things. So you'll want to be storing this information, and then like when you're using the app, it'll calculate it for you to use. Does that address that question?
Oh, I guess I need to look at the function to be sure.
So yeah, you're going to store like the number of times that you've purchased it. You're going to store like when you purchased it, and using that information, you're going to be able to tell the user when they want to purchase it next, or like estimate when they'll want to use when we'll want to buy it next.
I see.
Cool. Any other questions? All right. Time to assign issues. Let's see. So this week we've got Gabby and Alex, and then Eden and Terry working together. So does anyone have any preferences? Seeing a lot of shaking heads here. All right. Cool. Well, why don't we Eden and Terry, do you want to take the filter, the search filter? All right, and that leaves Alex and Gabby. Looks like Alex was already on that. Nice. All right. That is our issues for the week. Yay. All right, Miles, I think, yeah, that's all with issues.
All righty. Cool. I think that leaves, hang on, I gotta take that out of the screen. I think that leaves, that's about it, right? Learning modules, demos, we did the retro, we excited to the issues. All
Want to
righty.
schedule office hours?
Office hours, right. Who is that this week?
I believe that is EJ.
EJ.
That's me. So based on how this has been going, I wanted to ask the team actually, which day would you prefer to meet? And I can try to make like a few hours available on that day and work from there. Does anyone have a preference, whether we do early like Tuesday or say Thursday instead?
I would prefer Tuesday if the options are Tuesday or Thursday.
I can pick any of these days arbitrarily. I just want to make sure that I have a sense for what works for everyone. Anyone else have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think we all just kind of like Tuesday, Wednesdays, and
Okay.
have agreed that Thursdays are kind of late.
Okay, that's fine. I wanted to give everyone time to work on everything, but if you're sure that you can get some stuff done by Tuesday, we can for sure have stuff to talk about. So then, remind me, what was last week's office hours? What hour was that on Tuesday? Do
It
y'all
was
remember?
around 2 p.m. Pacific.
I can do that again if you'd like to, just to keep it consistent. Anyone have any thoughts? Yes, no? I'm going to assume yes until someone comes off mute and says no, please. Okay, then we'll do 2 p.m. on Tuesday. And if anyone would like to change that for any reason, just let me know. We can adjust it if something comes up. I totally get it. That works.
Would you be able to send a calendar invite? That worked out really well last week. Andrew
Cool.
sent us one. That was
I
great.
think I can do that. Andrew might have power to make meetings that last longer than mine do, but if mine are too short, we can just hop off and hop on again, but I'll do that for sure.
Oh wait, are you speaking about the Zoom for the office hours or
Yeah.
just the office hours? Honestly, if you send out a link with when the office hours are, I'll just pop one in Slack before using the Collab Lab thing, just so that like I can rope it off on their actual calendar.
Sure. Okay, I'll make a calendar invite, and whether it has a link or not is TBD, but you'll at least get an invite to remind everyone what's going on, and then either Miles or I will handle the link when it's time.
Cool. Hang on, making a note right now. All right. So I think that's about it. I guess we can call it a day. See you all on Slack. Or is there anything I missed? Any questions, comments, concerns? Did I miss anything? Alrighty, if not, I will see you all later.
Bye everyone, great job this week.
Bye everyone. Have a good week.
Bye.